everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
The podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, we're going to be talking about the very strange story of one Mr. John Allen Chau.
Yeah, you've all seen it by now, because when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this might be obscure, but it was not able to stay in obscurity. We've all seen the news reports about the missionary who went and got himself killed.
Yeah, over there in a little island in the Indian Ocean.
Yeah. We're going to talk about missionary work.
Yeah.
The Lord's important work on this earth.
Oh, it's every Christian's duty to spread the gospel, isn't it? Though
they're spreading duty, that's for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll be getting to that, and of course more.
That and more.
But first,
a word from our stories.
All right. Let's see, Dan.
Yeah.
Do you know where the world's largest statue is?
The world's largest statue?
World's tallest statue.
Oh. I don't. I mean, I can think of a few that are pretty damn tall.
Where do you think the place these?
Well, see, so now I'm thinking, you think about the Christ in Rio de Janeiro.
Oh, yeah.
You think about the Statue of Liberty. She's real big.
She's big, yeah.
But I'm going to guess it's like some shithole in rural Texas where they just built a thing for the sake of building a thing.
Yeah. I wouldn't guess that it was in India.
Oh, well, okay, there's that too.
But, once you say it, it's like, okay, because
sure.
Why not?
Sure.
But I would imagine that it's probably some religious whatever.
Yeah.
Right? No, currently it's a 182-meter likeness of a founding father, Sardar Patel.
Oh, okay.
So that's what's there currently. There are
182 meters in feet is almost 600 feet tall.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's tall.
That is a very tall thing.
So there are actually now 2 statues planned that are going to take down or remove this or beat this one for height.
Right.
They're
not taking down that statue.
They're not taking it down. That statue's staying up, but they're going to take down its claim to glory.
Oh,
right? Wow. There is a 212-meter likeness of the medieval ruler Shivaji.
Okay.
That's under construction on the coast of Mumbai.
Okay.
And then also in India, a 221-meter high effigy of the Hindu god Ram.
Oh.
So that would make India home to the world's 3 tallest statues.
Yeah.
And with the tallest statue in the world being dedicated to a Hindu god.
Okay, here's what we need to do. We need to make sure that every evangelical in this country knows about this.
I know. It's really important.
So that they all feel like they absolutely have... Because Jesus cannot be...
the shortest god.
Not the tallest statue. Like,
no.
Somewhere in, rural Arkansas or whatever, somebody will put up a statue. They will fund that. They will get a statue that's the tallest statue in the world.
I mean, we went to the Christ of the Ozarks.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was a tall statue.
How tall is he?
I don't remember how.
Hang on.
How tall that is.
I'm Googling. You keep talking.
But there needs to be, I don't know, Christ of the Appalachia. Christ of...
No, it's Christ of the Ozarks.
No, I know.
You're saying...
Come on, people.
Let's get a new one.
You don't want another one in Appalachia.
Yeah, that thing's only 66 feet.
Yeah.
How are we...
10 times as tall, Dan.
Yeah, we got to go 10 times higher.
10 times higher. Somewhere down in Alabama.
Yeah.
Come on, Alabama. You need a better draw.
Right
now,
right?
I don't have a lot of reason to go to Alabama.
And if you build that statue, we still won't have any reason to go to Alabama.
Learn the lessons of the Ark, people.
Right?
Like, build it.
Build it. If you build it...
Put some taxpayer money into that thing.
A few people will come. Not really many. The Christ of the Ozarks is one of my favorite statues of all time especially because they figured out exactly how high it could go without putting a red flashing light on its head.
Oh.
And so it kind of doesn't have a neck. It's this neckless Jesus with his arms outstretched. It's a really bad-looking statue.
Right.
And I love it. We had such a great time when we were there.
We had an awesome time.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, but I do think...
I guess that's true, though. You have to have the flashing light.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The FAA would never allow you to do it without the flashing light. Mm-mm. So
you got to incorporate that.
Flashing eyes? Jesus, blinking evil Jesus sees you.
His crown of thorns will just
crown of thorns,
just red flashing crown of thorns.
That's it.
Oh yeah, put crown of thorns Jesus.
They
up
weren't
there.
thinking about that.
Nope.
When they built that one, that's the way around it.
They should have asked us.
Yeah,
they're not checking in with us.
Oh my God,
we're thinkers over here.
Yeah, it'd be so good.
I want the biggest Jesus statue.
They can do it.
I want them to build it. I'm so excited about this prospect.
Would his hands have to have blinkers on them too?
I don't know.
But stigmata.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
red flashing out of those holes in his hands. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that? Maybe even like some blood dripping down in red like flashing lights that sort of twinkle as it goes down, something like that. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff right there.
Yeah, this stuff is really good.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we need a tall Jesus.
Yeah, Christ of the Ozarks is just not enough, people.
No.
You
Christians suck.
We need a 900-foot.
The Hindus are so better than you.
They're killing you.
Yeah.
You should be ashamed of yourselves. Speaking of people who should be absolutely ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
You know how in the Bible, I don't know if you've read Leviticus recently, but in the Bible, it does say that a woman in her period of uncleanness should be confined to her own tent.
I agree with this. Yeah.
Menstruation is gross, and you're not allowed to sit in a chair that a menstruating woman has sat in, and all these other things. Which, by the way, I feel like the Christians have gotten real lax about this one.
They have. Yeah. They need to.
The Jews too. I don't know. Maybe the ultra-Orthodox Jews are doing something about it. I'm guessing they are because they're kind of dicks about everything.
Right.
But I'll tell you who is doing something about this. A lot of Indians and Nepalis, which is very strange.
Okay.
And recently, numerous times in the past, in recent history, there has been problems. Most recently, a young girl got her first period in India and was sent out to a hut. She was exiled to a hut while she menstruated. She's 14, and that's when the cyclone hit, and she was killed.
Oh my God!
The rest of the family was fine, but because she was in her hut of shame, she died.
Oh my God! Okay. So, and they knew the cyclone was coming.
Well, I don't know what they knew. I don't know how much they pay attention to the weather patterns, but I mean, if you know that the cyclone's here, maybe go and retrieve your early teenager from her.
But they just let her stay out there.
I guess so.
Poor dear.
Well, yeah. It's the shocking thing of this story is that they're still doing this stupid thing. That they're still that somehow there's still the idea that a woman is unclean because she has her menstruation or that she has to be removed from society in some way. Like, that's the really shocking thing.
Yeah.
We fixed that years ago, at least a decade ago, here in our civilized society.
Yeah. Hey, you don't really see menstruating huts anymore, do you?
Not here. No.
It used to be everywhere.
Back in the 50s, man, they were super into it.
Well, Dan, that's just a big downer of a story. I wanted to keep making fun of all of this, and now
now you don't
really
get to.
About just
because a girl got killed, and there have been other stories. In the last last year, there was a young girl who had basically the same thing happen in Nepal. Don't send your girl, like, menstruation's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the big takeaway.
So this is like what, let's back up slightly. Did you say what religious sort of practice this is? Like, or is it just kind of a traditional...
They were Hindu, and apparently some Hindus in India still have this sort of impurity thing.
Interesting.
In their deal.
Normal modern hygiene just ain't good enough.
And it's often portrayed as a rural issue in India, but it still happens also in the cities. It's reasonably pervasive. You're not going to have probably a hut knocked down and a girl killed. Apparently, what happened was a coconut tree fell on the hut and killed her. But yeah, you probably wouldn't have that in the city.
So it just have like a special apartment in every building.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Menstruation room.
Go sit in the laundry room somewhere.
They have the menstruation center down the street.
Right.
All the women hang out.
I can think of some women that would
special snacks.
Probably like that. Don't have to be around the men. They could just go and hang out with other women and whatever. No, not. Yeah, it's a horrific practice. It's so stupid, and just goes to show that when the men are in charge, they just treat women like shit.
Yeah,
it's smash the patriarchy.
Grrr, smash.
In that case, smash the Brahmic patriarchy.
Yeah,
the Brahminic patriarchy.
Fuck it.
Did you see that just as a side note, as a side thing, the CEO of Twitter got in trouble in India for holding a smash the Brahmic patriarchy sign in a photo.
What?
They had given it to him. Like he was meeting with some Indian feminists, and that's pretty interesting. And he was holding this sign, and it got posted, and now he's in trouble.
Wow.
In India. I don't think it's real trouble, but
it's trouble enough.
He might not be invited back to India.
Pissed off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, there you go. All right.
But I agree. Smash it.
All right, Dan.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a story of, I don't know if you heard this last week, Taiwan voted on gay marriage.
Oh, how'd that go?
Did not pass.
Uh-huh.
And that's kind of really sad because Taiwan has been seen as at the forefront in Asia for gay rights.
Right.
Obviously, this would have been a first for the entire region.
Right.
And
they're
half of the world, really.
They're Taiwan's kind of the great hope of modernity in Asia, of liberal thinking.
Yeah, sort of. Yes. This story I pulled is actually not a news story, but it is a story that was talking about a group called Mass Resistance, which is based out of Massachusetts.
Oh,
cute.
Because Mass, I get
Mass. And it's listed on the Southern Poverty Law Center lists of hate groups.
Yeah.
It's one of the 18 top anti-gay groups in the United States.
Of course.
And they were working hard behind the scenes in Taiwan to undermine this vote.
Oh, my God. Mind your goddamn business.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, they know from firsthand experience, Dan, what legalization of gay marriage
the devastation
does. Right, because Massachusetts, right?
They were on the
forefront of gay marriage being legalized in the United States.
They had to experience that horror long before most of us,
and so they actually have booklets and videos available. One video is titled "What Gay Marriage Did to Massachusetts."
Oh my! I
ruined it.
I want to see that video.
Devastated it.
Yeah.
Massachusetts has not been the same since. It's a horror, people.
Gay-sachusetts.
Don't go. Whatever you do.
Massaqueersits.
So, yes. Just awful. So, they, the group was using claims such as, trying to get when gays try to get legislation allowing marriage. Right on the heels of that, they also try to legalize sex with animals.
Oh, right.
And they start trying to lure children into homosexuality and sadomasochism.
I mean, obviously, that's just the next logical step, as any Christian will tell you.
Right. Mass Resistance also accuses the CIA and FBI of having a homosexual agenda, which is just amazing.
They're pointing at that J. Edgar Hoover going, we saw what you did.
And they said that if the legalization of gay marriage in Taiwan would create AIDS Island.
Oh, God.
Same-sex marriage would spark an AIDS epidemic.
Well, because
the West would profit from the increases in sales of antiretroviral medicines.
Well, it makes is sense, because if you look at what gay marriage does, it makes more gays. There's so many more gays because they don't have any gays until they legalize marriage.
Right.
And then those gays who have legalized marriage practice far more dangerous sex practices.
Of course, yeah.
Because marriage, boy, that's what inspires people to really go for that that high risk sex stuff.
Yeah, I mean, gay marriage is that's the most boring thing a gay person could ever do.
Right. They should be if you don't want AIDS in the gay community, promote monogamy. That's the whole point. Not that I'm for that. I'm just saying, talking about it as though marriage is going to make more AIDS.
Yeah.
That's just the opposite of real.
Yeah. Well, other things that also come along with the legalization of gay marriage include, we've mentioned it, bestiality.
Yes.
Obviously promiscuity, incest, rape, chaos, the destruction of the traditional family, and laws making it a crime to use terms like mother and father. I mean, any one of these claims would be absurd.
You know what?
Then to collect them all together, it's just fucking ridiculous. And fuck you, Mass Resistance.
Well, they don't call them mass holes for nothing. That is amazing. I need to start. I'm going to start lobbying for laws that make it illegal to say father and mother. I want it. I want to be the one guy who's actually working toward that. Just to make the absurdity come true.
Sure.
I want to live in that world where that happens.
Hello, parent.
Hello. Look. Hello, gender non-specific inclusive parent. All right. I'm going to take us to Rome. Where the global organization of nuns, known as the International Union of Superiors General. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
It sounds pretty hoity-toity if you ask
Mother
me.
Superior.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
This is the big nuns group.
Awesome.
There are a lesser nuns group, but this one's the top dogs.
All these women who run nunneries.
And your various convents, nunneries, sure. But no novices,
abbeys.
no novitiate nuns.
Are there abbeys?
You can have an abbess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
wonderful.
This organization has decided to denounce the, quote, culture of silence and secrecy surrounding sexual abuse of nuns, often by priests.
What?
So the thing that we hear a lot about child sex abuse of parishioners.
Okay.
But there's this whole other problem of sexual abuse and physical and verbal abuse of nuns, sometimes by other nuns. And of course, it goes almost entirely unreported because either the nuns don't get believed and are vilified instantly.
Right.
And of course, they circle the wagons around the priests.
Right.
Or the nuns don't want to damage the church So they don't want, because, if you're a nun, you're devoted to this church. And you don't want to do the damage that bad publicity would do or whatever. Yeah. There's a whole list of reasons why a nun might not report this. But this group of nuns, this very important group, which represents more than 500,000 nuns worldwide.
Wow.
It's a lot. Yeah.
There's that many nuns?
Yeah.
I mean, there's more than that, probably.
There's more than that.
What?
That's a lot of fucking nuns. Half a million nuns. So they're calling on nuns to report.
Yeah.
And calling on nuns to speak out, which is big. You're going to have a nun-pocalypse. You're not careful.
Yeah. A whole army.
Yeah.
God's army.
God's.
Or at least something.
Yeah. So there you go. They're not going to take it anymore, apparently.
Yeah.
The Catholics have some serious reckoning coming. Those priests.
Yeah.
They're not getting away with it anymore as much. Or rather, people are getting mad at them as they get away with it.
Holy crap. Those nuns should all march.
Mm-hmm.
One big, they can't get 1 million nuns. There's only 500,000. But do like a 500,000 nun march on Rome.
On the Vatican.
Yeah.
I mean, they can circle the whole thing 20 times over.
And yeah.
They could
sing
stop
songs.
Everything. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. There are a lot of nuns, though, in Rome.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. And a lot of different costumes.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. a lot of different colors.
You got the gray nuns. You got your black nuns.
Got the brown ones.
Sure.
Right? Got almost every color you can imagine.
They're color-coded for your convenience. They, if you know the code, it's like the gay hanky code.
Yeah.
Only it's for nuns.
That may not have been great in sort of a nun abuse.
Shh. Don't talk about that.
But knowing how priests would mark
oh my God.
Their targets.
Right, exactly.
Who knows,
I'm going to switch you over to gray.
Ugh. Oh, there is gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is gray too. Huh. A lot of colors with the nuns. All right. Dan.
Yeah.
I'm going to take us to Singapore real quick for a story about Christmas. Christmas in Singapore, Dan.
Ooh.
This nation with such a strong history of Christianity, where roughly 20% of Singaporeans are Christian.
Oh,
that's more than I probably would have thought. However,
I know nothing about
it's
Singapore.
Still, a minority.
Sure.
Right. Well, they have sort of their own little unique war on Christmas thing going on.
Oh.
There's a shopping district in Singapore called Orchard Roads.
Okay.
Or Orchard Road, rather.
Okay.
And it's swanky. I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's got all the top, it's got Gucci and Prada.
Sure.
And all it's swanky.
I saw Crazy Rich
go.
Asians. I get it.
Right. But it looked kind of like a very urban and dense, maybe like a Rodeo Drive type.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
Just nice. Anywho, they have a tradition that's been going on for 30 some odd years or something like that. They do a light up. It's a Christmas light up.
Sure.
And they get the whole thing all decorated out, and it's lovely, and it's just Christmassy and wonderful. Yeah. Well, this year, they haven't canceled any of their plans for the light up, but it is now being sponsored by Disney. All right.
Okay.
So it's all Disney characters everywhere,
Sure.
and it is perfect Disney. It's over the top.
Yeah, when Disney does it,
done.
They're going to know what to do.
Meticulous.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the Electric Light Parade, only without the parade.
It's essentially, yeah. Really, really, really nice looking.
Sure.
Well, anyway, it's just horrible. The National Council of Churches of Singapore, right, announced or is called this year's Christmas light up disappointing. because it's exclusively focused on Disney characters, and it buries the original meaning of the festival.
Wait, isn't Jesus a Disney character? Don't they own that property by now?
I'm surprised they don't. They're deeply concerned about the increasing secularization and commercialization of Christmas in Singapore.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I hate to say this, but you guys didn't have a problem the other 30 some odd years that a commercial retail district was decorating itself up for Christmas in a nation that's not Christian,
right?
Not
yeah.
largely Christian,
right?
As a means to like get people down to their district for the spectacle,
right,
of all the Christmas lights.
This is much more appropriate,
right? This is actually what it is,
right?
It is a commercial enterprise,
yeah,
pure and simple.
I don't think you're allowed to complain about the commercialization of a mall,
right?
I don't think you're allowed to complain about they're just doing it for money. It's just ugly consumerism at its worst at that mall, at that shopping center.
Yeah, no,
at that high street. So dumb.
Yeah, no meaningful connection to Christmas. They're saying, Mickey Mouse, Cinderella, Elsa, and Woody from
Frozen and
from like Pixar.
Yeah.
Stuff,
sure.
Right. Which of course Disney owns. This is just not what they think is what Christmas is about.
They've lost a little ground. Sorry, guys. It wasn't appropriate in the first place, so shut your fucking mouths. All right, well, I am going to... we had another holiday just this past week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize that we celebrated the giving of thanks here in these United States. For our international listeners, you're aware of it because America's most important country in the world, so you know about our holidays.
When we're all thanking God for our blessings.
For whatever. Anyway, and one of the big traditions of that holiday, of course, is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Glorious.
In downtown, right there in Manhattan.
Yeah.
A Miracle on 34th Street.
Oh.
It's
such a tradition.
It's a big tradition.
All the balloon floats.
The giant cartoon balloons.
Unbelievable. Nobody else
all
does
the
that.
things.
You don't see that anywhere.
Yeah, they do.
What other parade does big balloons?
When was the last time you went to a big parade? They do it at the down at the Independence Day parade in Provo.
They do?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Anywho.
Because
but not that big.
Huh.
I think the scale is different.
Right. Okay.
Only in New York can you be in your office and a giant Snoopy goes by. Anywho, the other thing that they do for this parade is that new Broadway shows like to do a number on the telecast. They walk by and they stop and they do a whole number for the telecast there.
Yeah.
And this year, the one that made the news was a show called The Prom, which just opened on Broadway.
Oh, okay.
I've been following this one because I actually have a friend who's in it.
Oh.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Just a fun little sidebar. I know famous people. Anyway, it's a story of some people who go. Anyway, it's a musical that's gotten a lot of good press. The New York Times liked it. And the number that they did was about some people attending the prom, and the big problem is, it's about two girls who go to a prom together.
Oh, dear God.
And the number ends with a kiss.
No.
Lesbian kissing on the TV.
On mid-morning television in America?
Yeah, family television at its best. And boy, did the Christians shit their pants about it. They were not okay.
Kids, cover your eyes.
Yeah, literally, like, people outraged at this stuff, talking about how can we let our children do this, and also outraged that everybody else is happy about it.
Well, of course.
HuffPo hailed it, and USA Today was all about it. So,
well, yeah. I mean, sorry guys, I apologize that the world has moved on from your bigoted and close-minded mindset.
You should apologize. Here's some quotes from some right-wing Christians who were outraged. Now Macy's has sexualized and lesbianized Thanksgiving in its iconic kids parade. Okay, you tell me how that was sexualized. Would a straight kiss have been also sexualized?
Because that's normal.
Right, yeah, exactly. We weren't allowed to enjoy this moment before the incessant homosexual agenda was thrust into America's face.
I love it when they talk about thrusting and faces and throats.
They really need to sort of monitor their own language when they're talking about all this. I don't want this gay stuff rammed down my throat. Okay, we'll be more gentle then. We won't ram it.
Yeah.
Just be you take it at your own pace.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. People call it was delightful how outraged so many people were about this thing. Tweets aplenty.
Oh no.
Just about about the gay agenda. I'm never going to be able to watch this parade again. It was a tradition in my household. They also raised a couple of years ago. They raised hackles by doing a number from the show Kinky Boots.
Oh yeah,
which didn't have any gay kissing, but had the men in
kinky in it.
It had the word kinky, and it had, I think, men in ladies' shoes, ladies' footwear.
Yeah.
So that's about as bad as it can get.
That's pretty bad. And they kept watching though. Well, shame on them. Fool me once,
shame on you. Fool me twice. Show me gay stuff twice. Shame on everybody. So there you go. Hey, if you have any gay things that you want to share with the world, you can certainly do so by writing into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Click on that like button.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge. Request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in. Also check us out on Reddit, reddit.com/r/TGIAtheist. Dan.
Yes, sir.
It's time for some little audio clip from the crazy Christian right.
Yeah. This is delightful. We got Rick Wiles, who is oddly kind of trying to confirm science.
Yeah.
Also deny science. He clearly doesn't understand what's happening in the science, but he's taken something that he's read.
Yeah.
And man, he has jumped on that horse and galloped with it. He is going. It's delightful.
All right. Well, here's the clip.
We believe that China is well aware of the Ice Age, and that's why they're developing an artificial sun. They're developing artificial moons. And people here in the USA, you can laugh, mock, ridicule all you want, but you're going to end up freezing to death, all right? Because this thing is here. It's arriving, and it's arriving quickly, and it's arriving this year. We're going to see the onset of this Ice Age in the winter of 2018, 2019, but it's really going to kick in next winter. That's going to be when you're going to have a lot more believers. Some people said, well, why would God do this to us? Why would God allow it to happen?
Well, God isn't allowing it to happen. All these things are happening as a result of man's sin. That man's sin, because we're connected with the earth, that sin is causing this disruption in the earth. The earth was never meant to deal with sin. The earth was made perfect. The Lord made it. Remember, the Holy Spirit brooded over the waters, so He formed this earth. He made this earth for us, for habitation for us. It was our sin that cascaded this whole problem that we see in the world around us. And so, when you see these things happening, it was the result of man's sin, not God's wrath. God will use it.
Yes, because it will freeze out Planned Parenthood.
Yes.
There won't be very many abortions in America 15, 20 years from now. There's not going to be a lot of pornography consumption. There's not going to be a lot of drug use. I mean, it's going to freeze out a lot of sin.
Yes.
That's for sure, because people, a lot of people are going to be dead. And that's just a fact. An ice age wipes out a substantial portion of the population. That's a fact.
You know, on the plus side of extinction level events, less sin.
Finally, somebody is getting rid of Planned Parenthood. Like, we've tried. We've tried. Unfortunately, we can't. Somehow they just keep existing.
Yeah, we can't make it happen. So at least
Ice Age.
If you kill off the species, the sin stops. So that's why didn't we think of that?
Yeah,
just nuke everybody.
Yeah, that's done.
No more sin.
Because there's nobody to do anything wrong.
Nobody around to sin anymore.
Also, fewer people to praise the Lord's name.
Oh, shit.
That's what they're not thinking about.
God you know, the leaps of logic that happened just in that clip with Rick Wiles and whoever his tubby guest is, literally, it is
tubby guest with the worst flat top.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
it's like one of those narrow flat tops.
Why do I point out the I like tubby people. I have nothing against tubby people, but he is it's horrible.
His hair.
It's the hair.
It's the hair that's the problem.
It's the hair that's the issue. And anyway, these guys, I think about like what must be going on in their brain for them to not see the logical leaps and jumps that they're taking. And here's what I imagine. You remember on old Sesame Street that we grew up with? The psychedelic pinball game?
Oh, yeah.
1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That one.
That one.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine all
11, 12.
thoughts working in their brain.
Yeah.
It's just bling, bling, bouncing off of this and going to that and never following a line that could be traced to anything specific or normal or even like reasonable.
Yeah.
Just like, because, you don't want to think about the thought that, if you present the idea that God's not allowing this to happen, it's happening.
Right.
But God somehow not, like, if you've got an omnipotent creator of everything, then everything that happens, God is allowing.
Right.
But believe me, I don't need to go down every rabbit hole of logic that these guys jumped through.
No,
but
their brains are good for, breathing and heart beating and
basic
food
survival
digestion.
skills. And stuff.
I don't know that they're really like.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
he's
that great at putting things together.
They're ding dongs. Anyway, hey, you know what I want to talk about? I'll read an email and then it'll launch us into the discussion that I want to have. We have one email from a listener who says, "Hey guys, thank you so much for your show. I love it. Great idea to give to the FFRF. Not that I give a lot to you guys, but it is awesome for me to know that as an Australian, Austrian.
They look first glance, they look really similar.
Well, I need to make the font size bigger, apparently. For me to know that as an Austrian, I am giving to the US FFRF. That makes me so happy. All the best, Stephanie."
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. And that's the thing that I wanted to talk about is that we've launched our drive. We are doing an entire December thing. My other show, How to Heretic, is also doing it. And what we're doing is taking 20% of all that we make for the entire month of December and giving it to the Freedom from Religion Foundation.
Yeah. And that's an important point, is that it's actually new patrons as well as established existing patrons. It's everything that comes in over the month of December. So if you're already a patron, you're covered.
Right.
If you'd like to become a new patron, we welcome you.
Existing patrons can go in and give a little bit more if they want to.
Yeah.
You can you choose how much you want to give, as always is the case with our patrons. But yeah, we're trying to make sure that we look. There's never been a time in my lifetime when the separation of church and state was under quite as big an assault as it is right now. It is a concerted effort by the crazies on the religious right to try and take down that wall brick by fucking brick. And we need to support the sentinels that are standing guard, and that's the FFRF. So in this season of giving, we're doing that, and we've got some people to thank who've started the charge.
Absolutely. We have Jen, who's now a venerable listener.
Excellent.
And Susan, who is a beatified listener.
Well,
and so thank you so much.
Blessings upon you. And if any of you want to join that charge and become and help us in our drive to give to the FFRF, and if you've thought about being a patron of our show before but just haven't done it, now is exactly the right time to do it.
Absolutely.
So you go to thankgodimatheist.com, click on that patron button, and go and sign up. It's easy, and you know. It's a few bucks a month. It doesn't have to be a lot,
right?
And that'll help us tremendously.
Well, yeah, and that really helps us also keep something that we I think the reason why I keep doing the show, Dan, is because I recognize that we are putting a unique voice out into the world, in sort of the atheist podcast.
Yeah,
right. That we take a little bit of a different tact, and I think it's important, and we hear that from a lot of our listeners. And so that's what keeps us going. So if you want to support that, please help us out.
And there's no better time, because you're helping us and you're helping the FFRF. And that's glorious. And we have one other person to thank.
Our Lord and Savior, our top donor, Jenny!
How green is her valley? We love her dearly.
I don't know about that.
I don't know what that means. Don't take that the wrong way. Anyway, long may
she lives in a beautiful, beautiful valley.
Yes. Long may she wave, and forever may she reign. Hail to thee, Jenny.
Bye, Earth. Thanks. Okay, Dan.
Yes, sir.
We want to touch on this story that has sort of fascinated the nation and probably a lot of the world. This story about John Allen Chau, the Christian missionary who was killed a couple weeks ago.
Can we call him a Christianary?
When he invaded the protected space of their remote island, that belonged to this indigenous tribe.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of the Indian Ocean. It's had a lot of people wrestling with sort of this question almost of like, did he deserve to die? And so forth and so on.
Right. There's there are laws against even going to this island.
Yeah.
These are people who are basically, they are a tribe of hunter-gatherers who are untouched by the outside world.
And have made it perfectly clear in the past that anyone who lands on their island is going to be killed.
They're very shooty.
Yeah.
There are images, like a lot of the images that you see, there are the images of them raising their bow and arrow to fire at a helicopter that was assessing hurricane damage.
Right.
So, they're not friendly and they don't want you. And if you invade their island, they will defend themselves.
Right.
And there's good reason not to go also, just like they have no reason to have the immunities to diseases that we as disease-ridden foreigners, outsiders
that
may
probably carry. Yeah. And so there's a lot of risk to them from just a health perspective.
Yeah.
And there's just, the fact of the matter is they've placed people on pikes.
Yes.
Facing outward toward the ocean, their dead bodies, as essentially warnings.
As warnings,
stay away.
They've been clear.
Yeah. And so not only is it against Indian law, but it's just kind of at this point against good judgment to go anywhere near this island. A
fact with which John Allen Chau was not unfamiliar.
Right.
He knew. He had to bribe fishermen to take him out to there.
Fishermen who are now under arrest, by the way.
Because everybody knew they were breaking the law to try and get out to these people. And yet he persisted.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, everybody's going to be talking about this. I don't want to tread the same ground that everyone's talking about. But the thing that I really am fascinated by is missionary work as a concept. Like,
yeah, that's rough stuff.
This guy was, some sort of born again-y type. He went to Oral Roberts University. He's some sort of evangelical Christian.
Yeah.
From Alabama originally, I think, and just had that zeal that these people are indoctrinated into.
Well, I mean, he felt that it was that. I mean, these are lost souls,
yes,
right? Who have the ultimate horror for a Christian, right? Zero possibility of even ever hearing Christ's name,
right?
Right? They don't have any chance to accept or reject the saving grace of Jesus Christ.
Right.
And so he wanted to take it to them. And so he marches onto the island and he's like, "Hi, my name's John. I'm here to talk to you about Jesus," or something along those lines.
Right.
Just blathering away in English.
And they start shooting at him with arrows.
Yeah.
And then he runs away. Apparently he had a fish that was a present, and he kind of chucked it at him and started yelling, "Jesus loves you," as he was running away, which it's quite an image. Have a fish, bye!
I hate to laugh.
Stop shooting, please!
But the guy was such a damned fool.
Well, he's yelling at them in English. And also, I read one account where he also yelled a few words from the Xhosa language, which is a South African language. So, yes, it's foreign to you.
It's naive, uninformed.
An utter ding-dong. This guy is a doofus of the highest order. But the question becomes...
That surprises me because, I mean, Oral Roberts University has turned out such greats as Kathy Lee Gifford.
Sure.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the cream of the crop, though. Kathy Lee represents pinnacle ORU. It goes downhill from there.
Yeah. All right. So
the truth is that, he was whipped up into a lather that this was the right thing for him to do.
Yeah.
He probably felt a prompting from the Spirit. He probably felt, and he's been told his whole life that the best thing a Christian can do is bother other people about Christianity.
Yeah.
And,
we're all just so tired of it.
Yeah. And the truth is, now here's the interesting thing. We are so tired of it.
Yeah.
So as a missionary, it seems to me that the real action, the place you want to go, is somewhere where they haven't heard it before.
Right.
Somewhere where
virgin ears.
Yeah, because they haven't made their decision about the God botherers yet. So
one would presume, though, that they have some sort of cosmology, some sort of mythos, some god figures or spirits or something.
These are hunter-gatherers.
You would assume there's something, right?
These are hunter-gatherers. They don't even have time for that shit. They're too busy getting food.
They have some superstition. They must.
Oh, I'm sure they do. Sure they do. Not that we know. Not that anyone knows anything about these people.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they do. But what goes on in the mind of the missionary? Now, you, sir, spent 2 years of your life on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
In Italy.
A savage place.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Among the
I would say
the barbarians.
Yeah, zero culture.
They've never even heard of culture.
The local diet is it's all just based on ground
it's
wheat,
nuts.
They take grains and they grind it and they make it into shit.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Steal the eggs
worst.
out of the nest of a bird.
They grow this horrible fruit called tomato.
Right.
Pomodoro.
Yeah.
Ugh, the worst.
But you know, I mean, to some extent, firsthand, the mentality of one brand of missionary, which is the Mormon brand. So weird and
but equally naive and unsophisticated.
Right. And going out into the world bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to send the message of salvation.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you and I had an interesting discussion earlier today. Yeah. We were talking about this, and it's funny because I think about them. When I was a Mormon, I did not want to go on a mission. It was not something that really appealed to me. I knew I was supposed to, and I knew I was probably going to.
Right.
But I never felt like I wanted to. But I did feel like, since I knew the one truth that will get people to everlasting glory, I felt an obligation to shout it from the rooftops. Mm-hmm. I felt like I had something that I needed to give to other people. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it would have felt ethically horrible not to.
Yeah, and I completely understand that mindset, and I understand that is the next conclusion to draw from having the truth,
right,
and especially a truth that is so singular,
right.
However, going through, it was toward the end of my mission, but I started to recognize sort of how unethical and how immoral it is to take your belief system to another people, to a very different culture, and disrupt people's lives with it,
and kind of demand that they give it attention.
Well, right, but I knew plenty of people who I wasn't part of the conversion process for anyone, thank God. But I knew a lot of people who were Italians who were members of the church,
right,
who had essentially wrecked their family lives by converting to Mormonism. And that felt so opposite of what I felt like a lot of the message of Mormonism is, right?
Right.
It's so family-centric. Family's so important. And so after seeing people's lives so interrupted by their conversion, I just didn't feel good about it.
Right.
I didn't feel it was right. I felt like there was something really wrong, and that their culture was so different and clearly not wrong, right?
Right, yeah.
Italians,
they've done okay for a century or two.
Yeah, it's fine. They've got their problems like any nation, but it's also a rich and beautiful, culture with warm and friendly people who,
yeah,
but yet it functions and works differently, and it has this tradition of Catholicism, which. And I mean, that was the problem with me, and it's why I was never going to be a good Mormon, which was I was going around and seeing, the goodness in people, right? And saying, well, what's wrong with this?
Right.
They're turning out just fine. They have a fully functioning economy of sorts, right? That people are living, people are eating, people are living happy and fulfilled lives. What the fuck is wrong with this?
Right.
Right? Why is this version of how to live a life better, even though there's all this stuff that's unique about Mormonism, but Mormonism allows for people to get to the celestial kingdom through different paths.
Well, that's true,
right? And so it's kind of just well, fuck, I don't even know what this is all about.
And the truth is that the one thing we can say is that every time Christians have gone into an Aboriginal population, a native population, it's worked out real good for them, for the natives.
Right.
It always works out really great for the American Indians. It was fantastic, of course. India in general had a great time of it when the European Christians went in.
Sure.
The Aborigines of Australia and New Zealand, just really, really good. It worked out so darned well for all of them. Once they realized that they shouldn't have their own land and that it's okay for them to be murdered by...
Yeah, no, colonialism is awesome.
Enslaved.
Right? Nobody's saying anything against colonialism.
No.
So I kind of walked away from the whole experience. with very different conclusions than what you're supposed to come to. But at the end of the day, I still feel I feel very strongly that it's just wrong.
It's just to be a missionary.
It's just so fucking wrong.
Especially one who goes into another culture.
Yeah.
And tries to proselytize.
I mean, if you're Jehovah's Witness and you're knocking on your neighbor's door, okay, whatever. It's fucking annoying, but there's probably not anything quite as wrong on the level that I'm talking about.
Right.
But it's being sent to a different place. Yeah, and my experience in Italy, it's different, but it's not that different.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, Italy is not...
We weren't dealing with a lot of the same issues as it would be if you're working with indigenous peoples.
Yeah.
Or
going to Namibia or something,
or super poor regions or whatever.
Yeah,
very different issues. Also wrong.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
If you want it, the one way to be a good missionary, and it's the way that you always hear about these mission trips.
Yeah.
Right. When I was a kid in Oklahoma, kids my age would go on these mission trips, and they'd go wherever south of the border place in
Honduras or something,
or some wherever,
right,
and help out, right? And if
theoretically help out, oftentimes the help is not very good.
I know there was also a lot of praying and singing and come to Jesus stuff, right. But if you're going to go to a place that's less well off from where you are from, and your goal is to just build houses or dig wells or whatever, and it's legitimately to help out in kind of what's the national program,
like a Peace Corps sort of way.
Peace Corps sort of way. Great, right? And that's what Christians should do.
Yes, absolutely. Although so much of the time they don't actually ask the natives what they need or how they could best help them. They're like, we're going to come in and dig a well for you guys. And they're like, great, but we actually need blank. And they're, no, we're digging a well. We know how to dig wells. We'll be here for exactly 1 week.
Right.
And then we're gone.
Or they build a house and it's like, oh, we're going to put a bay window on this.
Yeah. They do not... The way that they help is not awesome. Yeah. And oftentimes, really what they're there for is to have their picture taken with brown people and look.
And that's ugly. That's ugly.
Yeah. The fact that
that's what they're there for.
They're there to get Instagram cred, street cred for being so good. Look at how good we are.
No, that's not good stuff. I don't like that. But
But yeah, I mean, they can do good things. And
if your goals are humanitarian, great.
Yes,
Godspeed.
But if the goal is to give starving people a Bible,
no,
fuck you.
Trade that Bible in for the few dollars it cost.
Yeah,
and get some food
and give them food.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the only way that this is even remotely close to okay.
Right.
And otherwise, you should be shot with arrows. I think that's the conclusion that we're coming to.
Isn't it interesting though? Because I mean, when you think about it, a Christian missionary walks into North Korea, right?
Yeah,
and they're just put in jail.
Yep.
Right, and the whole world loses their fucking mind.
Right.
Christian missionary lands on an island, gets killed by this tribe, and almost everyone's just like, yeah, he deserved it.
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, well, I mean, if they go into...
Or maybe not he deserved it.
Right.
But you can't hold them responsible.
He got what was coming to him.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. I mean, I think if somebody crosses the border into North Korea, I think most of the world, they'll try to get them out, but they realize that person also is getting what's coming to them. Everybody knows you don't get to go to North Korea.
Yes, but it I think there's something working a little differently.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that has a lot to do with histories of,
Well, and it plays into
the
this
West's encounters with indigenous peoples around the world. And
it plays into this whole Christian persecution complex, which
oh god,
there are. I found this group called International Christian Concern that's calling for a a murder trial, a justice for this missionary who was killed.
Jesus Christ.
And whatever. And their website is literally persecution.org, which is delightful to me.
Those lucky bastards. They got it.
Oh, okay.
Persecution.org.
Yeah, right. So there you go. I don't know. I think don't do missionary work. Even if it's, don't do missionary work. That's the conclusion, right?
What about spreading atheism in the
Shut
world?
your mouth. No evangelical atheism either.
Teaching people how to think, Dan.
That you can do. Teach people how to think. Just don't proselytize atheism.
Well, not door to door.
Hi, I'm a door-to-door thinkinator. I'm a missionary for not believing in stuff. Anyway, listen, if you guys have been on missions and have some stories you want to tell us, or if you have anything you want to say, you can write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to hear from you. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
That's right. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and click on that like button.
And while on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we'll let you in.
Yeah. And also, don't forget about our Reddit, our subreddit, reddit.com/r/TGIAtheist.
That's how you find it.
Speaking of our social media, thanks so much to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on the Facebook page, and to Amy and Danny for continuing to be amazing at moderating the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music, and also to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
Yes, and thank all of you for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Bye-bye.